Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cucuy and Friends with your host, Amy Confesano.
Well, since you guys are all quarantined and you're looking for a way to kill time, here is the next episode of Cucuy and Friends podcast. I'm Amy Catanzano, and I'm here with John Silva and Big Niece. This week, we want to talk a little bit about free agency frenzy, which is the first time I've been able to nail that phrase all night, which I'm sure has you guys all glued to your phones. And we also have a few stories for you about how our weekend in Napa went. So, John, the Raiders have been making a lot of moves in free agency. What are your thoughts on the Marcus Mariota pickup, or Hawaiian car, as you like to call him?
The Hawaiian car. It's kind of like a sideways move. I'm really curious to see the numbers because for some reason his numbers are still not available as far as how much he's getting paid per year and how many years this deal is for. Kind of gives me a little suspicion that maybe it's more than just the basic backup salary that a backup quarterback would make.
So you're wondering if this lateral move might be something to kind of try to oust Carr or give him more competition. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, like we said on the last show, Carr's got a $21.5 million cap hit. If you pay a backup quarterback more than $5 or $6 million a year, it's really going to hurt your total cap space. I have a suspicion that maybe he's getting paid somewhere in the area of like $10 to $12 million a year. And if you're paying him $10 to $12 million a year, at that point, he might not be there just to back up Derek Carr.
Interesting. Okay. I kind of have the feeling that they're bringing him in to foster that competition, but I feel like they might also still draft somebody, but it's so hard to tell what John Gruden is thinking.
Well, John's favorite quarterback is the next quarterback, not the current quarterback. And I think that you're onto something there with drafting a quarterback. I still feel that's a very strong possibility. You got 2 first-round picks, and right now the Raiders have done a pretty heavy signing on defense, which would allow you a little more freedom to not have to draft as much defense. You could use one of those draft picks that you have now for a quarterback if needed or wanted.
So of all the free agency frenzy that happened so far, I think the biggest head scratcher for Raider Nation was Jason Witten. What was that about? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that was definitely a surprise. I don't think anybody ever suspected it. I never heard any beat writers talking about it. Don't know where it's going. The Raiders are already stacked with Waller and Morrow and Carrier. Carrying 4 tight ends seems a bit much. So most likely I'm guessing Derek Carrier is going to be the odd man out, provided Jason Witten is able to make the team.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think Mees would say that he thinks Witten would even make the team. But I think that it is definitely a head scratcher. I don't know how that's going to pan out, but carrying 4 tight ends is basically like my fantasy football team, and I can tell you right now that never pans out. So what was your favorite defensive move that happened?
I actually really like, and I don't even know how to pronounce his name, the Nick, is that?
I think it's
Kwiatkowski,
but I'm not sure on that.
He's still a young player. There's not a whole lot known about him. I actually read an article last week that wasn't targeted specifically for the Raiders, but is targeted specifically for whatever team signs him is going to get a very good player at a very good price because he's not a well-known player.
Now, I feel like on Raiders Twitter, one of the favorite defensive moves was they were all talking about the Littleton pickup and how we were able to score him at a really great price. What were your thoughts on the Littleton signing?
That one was a really good signing. That definitely was not only on just Twitter, but Reddit, And Instagram, a lot of people wanted to go in on Corey Littleton, who is in the prime of his career, got him from the Rams. His ability to make plays from sideline to sideline is something that the Raiders have been missing for many years.
So then you were saying earlier that with all of these defensive signings that happened so far in free agency, you think it's an opportunity for the Raiders to kind of shift focus and possibly use one of those draft picks on another quarterback.
A lot of people are predicting the Raiders to go wide receiver and linebacker in the first round. You've now signed 2 linebackers who are capable of starting for the Raiders or for the teams that they previously played for. So you should be getting at least decent level quality out of these 2 guys. You no longer have to spend a first-round draft pick on a linebacker or even a defensive player for that matter. You're doing pretty decent on the line. Now you got linebackers. You could now draft a wide receiver and a quarterback in the first round if you desire, or you could keep teams guessing on what you're going to do, possibly maneuver a trade somewhere to acquire some more draft capital, like the second-round pick. That is definitely a good area to be drafting people as far as contract-wise goes.
It's going to be kind of crazy to see the draft this year because of all the craziness that's happening in the world right now. Fans aren't even allowed at the draft anymore. You were telling me earlier before we started recording that Las Vegas has essentially been shut down. What are your thoughts on how that is going to impact the fan base?
I think it's a big hit for the NFL in general, and it kind of shows where we're at in this world today with everything going on. The draft, which is something myself and lots of other fans planned on attending, up to maybe 750,000 people or so, will no longer have much to do at the draft. There's going to be no parties, no festivities, no NFL experience. That's all out the window right now. And more importantly is everybody's health and safety, obviously. It's definitely going to be a different experience. I'm not even sure if they're going to have as many players at the draft as they usually do. We're going to have to wait and see. The NFL might have to get a little innovative in what they do here.
I know it's definitely deterring a lot of people from going out. There's been a lot of social distancing and everything like that, but that didn't really stop the 3 of us from getting together last weekend. So coming up next, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what we did in Napa for my birthday.
Hey y'all, Mees here. This is a break. This is where an ad would be if we had sponsors. Hit us up.
Welcome back to Cucuy and Friends podcast. We wanted to get a little bit into what we did this past weekend in Napa. So Matt and I flew into Sacramento and drove over to Napa. We met up with John and his girlfriend Jen for brunch. And then after that, the 4 of us went over to check out Charles Woodson Wines.
Well, you left out a small little detail there. Before Jem and I got there, the 2 of you got engaged.
We did. And I was stupid and I actually missed out on the actual engagement.
She proposed to me.
Right.
No big deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's 2020.
To be honest, initially we got together and one of the main points was that she didn't want to get married. Now, she lies about it now and says that she said she didn't know if she wanted to get married, but I specifically remember saying she does not want to get married again.
Well, to be fair, he's old and has selective memory. So I don't know if we can really rely on his storytelling.
Also, to be fair, I mean, you probably didn't want to get married, but you were out wine tasting and feeling everything, and boom, perfect timing.
Well, John had 3 mimosas and was pretty drunk. I don't know how much drunker you can get without going into full white girl wasted mode, but
yeah,
those 2 mimosas had John feeling pretty talkative.
I think John might be engaged to you too. Not really sure. We'll have to roll the tape on that.
Like I said before, I'm a lightweight. it's a special occasion. We're celebrating something that doesn't happen very often. At least I hope it doesn't.
Well, it's happened to Amy twice, and to me once.
I actually never got proposed to before, so it was my first time.
Oh,
and I think we upset the wine tour guide too.
Hey, this is Mees. We lost a little bit of audio here. There's a bit where we're talking about being at Charles Woodson Winery in Napa. Social distancing. We've got a good photo. We're going to use that as our YouTube. So in the middle of the story, here we are again.
I think the worst part about meeting Charles Woodson, standing in front of him, looking like a derp, not able to say anything that made sense, was that by the time I got back to the bar where you were at, you had already gotten a photo with him.
Yeah, and on top of that, I was just kind of standing there minding my own business, talking to that couple we had started talking to. And all of a sudden, I just get bear hugged from behind. And I turned around, and I'm like, oh, shit, that's Charles Woodson. So I'm like, Charles, let me get a photo. And he's like, all right, cool, hurry up. I grab my camera, and I'm like, Charles, throw up the O. And he throws it up, and I got a quick little selfie with him. Then the couple we were with, they got a picture with him. And then he walked off, and that's when you ran into him.
It was so unfair because you weren't even actively stalking him like I was that night. I was trying to take pictures of him from afar. He was there watching the U of M game, and I'm like, yeah, go blue. From afar, all of my pictures are blurry, and you're like, yeah, not a big deal. Yeah. He stops, threw up the O, whatever.
So now, my favorite part, because I wasn't there to witness this, but I looked on your Instagram, and I see a picture with Amy and Charles, and it's kind of blurry. And I asked if you had your beer goggles on, because that's the way the picture looked. And Mees replies, he said to hurry up. And that was the reason why the picture was blurry.
That's terrible.
He had to get back to the game. I think they were getting blown out, right?
Yeah, it was a terrible game. It was awesome.
And so I was supposed to meet up with my buddy Al Thompson. You guys, he's on Instagram at Al Thompson, big blue check mark. And he was at another bar on the other side of the stadium. And he's like, yo, you should come by. And I'm like, all right, cool. So then all of a sudden I get another text from Al. He's like, hey, you'll never guess what? Charles Woodson just walked in. And I said, he just left here. So we go over there, and I'm sitting there minding my own business. And all of a sudden Charles comes up again, autographs the back of my jersey. And now I'm out, $300 for a jersey because it's all scribbled on. You can't wear it again once Charles Woodson's signed the jersey. So now I got to get it framed. That's another few $100s. So I'm out like $600 in this whole thing.
I also made him take the jersey off immediately. He's like, we're in public. I was like, I don't care. You take that shit off. You can't wear it anymore.
So I was walking around in 30-degree weather with just a tank top on.
I mean, if you got a Charles Woodson autographed jersey out of it, I would say that's kind of worth it.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Oh, and then plus Amy recycled his wine bottle from the place before. The bartender comes over and is like, hey, do you guys want this bottle? And Amy's like, yes.
That's pretty funny because one time when I was at a tasting room with Rick, and he showed me the cork bottles. They all say tasting room 24 on them. I posted a picture of them. And I couldn't believe how many people I got messaging me asking me to send them to him or to them.
Just the corks?
Yeah, just the corks. And I kind of felt weird saying, hey, do you mind if I take a couple of corks? Because I got these people messaging me on Instagram that they want the corks.
Well, if I had known that, I would have messaged you for a cork and put it in my bottle that I recycled for Charles Woodson.
Instead, this weekend, Amy spent about $600 in wine bottles, including, when I left, a signed one, which is $100 more than the regular one. So that was a genius move by Amy.
I'm just going to say that it was your engagement gift to me.
All right.
Because you didn't get me anything.
Well, you got a year subscription to Pandora. What else do you want?
I did get a year subscription to Pandora. He gets so mad because every time I put music on, there's always ads.
So
not anymore.
So happy proposal. Here's a 1-year subscription to Pandora.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
originally
Good package deal.
She got a Bo Jackson jersey that's autographed, and I was originally going to frame it, but the fucking thing costs $450 to frame. I feel like I could buy a whole new jersey framed and everything for about $250. So gotta keep shopping around.
Bo Jackson's autograph doesn't come cheap though. He does.
No, it does not.
He does the shows and they're about $120. Mm-hmm. I refuse to pay that much money for his autograph, even though he's one of my all-time favorite players. I just can't see myself spending $120 on somebody's signature.
I don't know. Anyone that's over the age of 12 and is walking around trying to get signatures is a fucking loser in my book. But I also don't want to offend everyone that's listening to the show, so pretend I didn't just say that.
I actually went to get Bo Jackson's autograph with Nick Costello.
Losers.
So we went together.
Losers.
And they were trying to rush the line because Bo Jackson had a flight to catch. And so it was very tense. And I got up there and he was like, "Oh, sweetheart, let me sign this jersey for you and everything." And I'm like, "Well, you have to. I just spent $125. It's not like you're doing me any favors." But I still haven't framed it. Yeah, but yeah, that was a me and Nick trip.
I don't mind paying a small fee for autographs, but $120 just seems a little extreme for me. So Mees could call us losers if he wants to, but I'm still gonna go out there and get autographs.
One day I'll let everyone in on my take on guys who wear makeup to football games.
I can't wait to hear that one.
Is that also the day that we're going to introduce our new producer?
Yeah, probably. I'll get fired that day. But then,
due to quality concerns, our new producer of the show is.
Let's get back to John being drunk. So,
yeah,
my favorite John being drunk thing. We're walking down to dinner. And,
oh yeah.
And on our way, there's a restaurant that's open, so we kind of go look at the menu. And John's like, "Why is the Michelin Tire Company have stickers on their door?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's the Michelin Guide." And he's like, "What's the Michelin Guide?" And only the most prestigious recommendation site when it comes to restaurants in the world. But John didn't know anything about it. And they went on a nice rant about it.
Well, of course I went on a rant on it because, as you guys know, I do tires for a living. Yeah. I see the Michelin Man on a restaurant, and to me, that's not an endorsement of how great this place is. That's a, "Hey, we have tires" endorsement.
But I am just going to say that someone with a food page who doesn't know what the Michelin Guide is, that's a pretty funny coincidence there to me. And the guy who had just eaten Taco Bell the night before.
Hey, I ate Taco Bell. I'm a huge taco and burrito person. I can't always just go to my local taqueria to get stuff. Sometimes I just have to drive through, get myself some Taco Bell. I know it's not the same, but it's my comfort food.
Especially when it's raining.
When it's raining, when you got quarantines, you got this coronavirus thing scaring people.
Yeah, the nice thing about having moved down here to San Diego is that every fucking Mexican place is a drive-through. Like, up in the Bay Area, everything's a taco truck or maybe a little stand. But here it's just all drive-through. So you don't have to get out of your car to get your tacos and burritos, and it's still better than Taco Bell. It's great.
But I have to ask John about the burrito thing. SoCal, NorCal, apparently there's beef. I mean, not literally beef, but Mies hates the burritos in San Diego.
French fries don't belong in a burrito.
French fries do belong in a burrito. It's called a California burrito.
So now I would say yes and no. I love French fries, so if it's in a burrito, I'm not going to put up a fight. Burritos with meat, I'm not really a huge fan of rice, to be honest. Just put some meat, some cheese, and some really spicy sauces in there, and I'm good. But there is a place in San Diego that I had a bacon wrap burrito, and that was amazing. No French fries in there, though.
Was that
I did, however, get a side of carne asada fries with my bacon wrap burrito. About halfway through, I regretted it because I had a flight to catch, and there was no way I could eat all that food before I left home.
Was it Lolita's?
Sausalitos, I believe it's called.
Sayulitas. I remember you showed it to us on Instagram.
Yeah, really good place. It's not a very established place, I guess you could say. It's not the oldest restaurant in San Diego. They're fairly new from my understanding.
Yeah, they got a few locations, and they do stuff like the Frito, not the Frito, the
Flaming Hot Cheetos.
the Flaming Hot Cheeto burritos and shit like that. Yeah, some of that stuff, most of that stuff I'm not really that big into, but every once in a while I'll try it just to throw it on the gram, you know?
He doesn't do a burrito unless it has rice and beans in it. Don't let him fool you. When we go up to Oakland, the trip is planned around going to the food truck at Guadalajara to get the burritos periodically throughout the weekend.
I remember once he asked me if I could ship him a burrito.
He did.
Yeah. Well, also, last time you came, I thought you were going to fly through Oakland, so I asked if you could stop by and pick me up a burrito on the way. Because the thing about the burrito is when it sits for about half an hour or maybe even an hour and a half on a flight, the sour cream, the cheese, and all the juices from the al pastor, they start to all meld together and create one beautiful chunk of just deliciousness. And I was kind of looking forward to that. Maybe a little salmonella sprinkled in, but yeah, you got to take that risk sometimes.
You got that 4-hour window before the food gets too much bacteria.
Yeah.
You got about I don't think I could have made it from Oakland to San Jose to San Diego to your mouth
but if
within 4 hours.
If you were flying out of Oakland, I think we could have pulled it off.
We would have been cutting it really close, but I think you could do it.
But also the thing is, if you wrap it like in a sweater, wrap it up in your hoodie, and then throw it in your carry-on, it would have been solid. We would have made it in time, and it still would have been warm.
TSA would have probably stopped me and wondering what we're doing.
Yeah, you could have wrapped it in your autographed Bo Jackson jersey and just been like, here you go. Here's your burrito.
Oh, perfect.
All right, you guys. If you loved what you heard today and you can't get enough of us, then please subscribe, download, review us on your favorite podcast app, or visit us at cucuyanfriends.com so that you can see all the ways that you can hear us. We're also on social media. We've got at Cucuy and Friends on both Twitter and Instagram. So follow us, give us your feedback, ideas. If we missed any of your favorite podcast apps, please add us.